6 p.m. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The Federal Cabinet is holding a special meeting in Islamabad with the Prime Minister in the chair. Pakistan, China and Afghanistan have signed a memorandum of understanding to boost mutual cooperation for the elimination of terrorism. The Afghan chief executive has hailed Pakistan's role in the reconciliation process in Afghanistan. In occupied Kashmir, the Indian troops in their fresh acts of state terrorism martyred 10 Kashmiri youths in Pulwama district today. The United Nations Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs Mark Lowcock has warned against complacency over the success of the United Nations brokered Yemen talks. In the first semi-final of the Men's Hockey World Cup tournament in the Indian city of Bhubaneswar, Belgium defeated England by 6-0. And now the news in detail. A special meeting of the cabinet is underway in Islamabad with the Prime Minister Imran Khan in the chair. Pakistan, China and Afghanistan today signed a memorandum of understanding to boost mutual cooperation for the elimination of terrorism in the region. The MOU was signed at the conclusion of the trilateral dialogue in Kabul today. The memorandum of understanding was signed by the Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi and his Chinese and Afghan counterparts. The signing ceremony was witnessed by the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani. Earlier, the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, China and Afghanistan held trilateral dialogue focused on political settlement of the Afghan conflict and regional cooperation. The Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi led the Pakistan delegation, while the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and the Afghan Foreign Minister Salahuddin Rabbani represented their countries at the talks. The three sides reiterated their commitment for a lasting peace in the region. The Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi during the dialogue reiterated Pakistan's stance that peace in Afghanistan can only be achieved through dialogue. He said as a neighbor, Pakistan had suffered the most due to the Afghan situation. The trio of delegations discussed the importance of China and Pakistan's technical assistance in different sectors for Afghanistan's progress. In his inaugural speech, the Afghan Foreign Minister Salahuddin Rabbani said collective efforts are required to address the common challenge of terrorism. He said, "We desire to strengthen our relations with Pakistan." The Afghan Foreign Minister also appreciated the Chinese One Belt, One Road initiative. Addressing a joint news conference along with his Chinese and Afghan counterparts after the trilateral dialogue, the Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi stressed for a joint strategy to eradicate the menace of terrorism from the region. He noted that only through collective efforts we can wipe out terrorism and achieve the objectives of peace and development. In his remarks, the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said both Afghanistan and Pakistan are friends of China, and his country will extend every possible cooperation to build trust and confidence between the two countries. He said his country will also assist in establishing connectivity projects, including a rail line between Peshawar, Kabul and Kandahar. The Chinese Foreign Minister said Afghan reconciliation process can be taken forward by bringing the Taliban to the negotiations table. The Afghan Foreign Minister Salahuddin Rabbani said Pakistan has an important role for peace in Afghanistan. He said peace in his country is vital for the peace and security of the entire region. The Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi held a meeting with the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani in Kabul today. They discussed issues pertaining to the improvement of bilateral relations and important matters of mutual and regional interest. The Foreign Minister on the occasion said trilateral dialogue forum of Pakistan, Afghanistan and China will help promote connectivity as well as regional peace and stability. The Afghan Chief Executive Abdullah Abdullah has hailed Pakistan's role in the reconciliation process in Afghanistan. Talking to Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi in Kabul today, he expressed the hope that bilateral relations will touch new heights during the government of Prime Minister Imran Khan. The Afghan Chief Executive thanked Prime Minister Imran Khan and Shah Mahmood Qureshi for the cooperation being extended by Pakistan to attain peace in his country. Speaking on the occasion, the Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said Pakistan will continue to play its positive and constructive role in the reconciliatory process in Afghanistan. Earlier, Shah Mahmood Qureshi also held a meeting with his Afghan counterpart, Syed Salahuddin Rabbani, in Kabul today. The Afghan Foreign Minister thanked Shah Mahmood Qureshi for Pakistan's efforts in the Afghanistan reconciliation. During the meeting, bilateral relations and other issues of mutual interest were also discussed. This is Radio Pakistan. The Supreme Court has ordered the government that officers holding dual nationality should not be appointed on important official tasks. A three-member bench of the Apex Court, headed by the Chief Justice, Mr. Justice Mia Saqib Nisar, announced a judgment regarding dual nationality of government servants at the Supreme Court Lahore Registry today. The court directed the government to make legislation relating to the dual nationality after the approval by the Cabinet Committee. The fourth anniversary of the terrorist attack on the Army Public School Peshawar will be observed tomorrow. Radio Pakistan Peshawar correspondent reports that a special function will be arranged in the school premises tomorrow to pay homage to the martyred students and teachers of the school. Similar functions will also be held in other parts of the country. 6 terrorists had attacked the Army Public School Peshawar on the 16th of December 4 years ago and brutally martyred 147 students and teachers of the school. In occupied Kashmir, the Indian troops in their fresh acts of state terrorism martyred 10 Kashmiri youths in Pulwama district today. 3 youths were martyred during a coordinated search operation in Kharpura Sirnu area of the district. The people took to the streets and held forceful demonstrations against the killings. The Indian troops fired bullets, pellets, and tear gas shells to disperse the protesters, killing 7 more youths and injuring many others. Meanwhile, a 3-day shutdown commenced in occupied territory to register protests against the killings. The call for the shutdown was given by the Joint Resistance Leadership, comprising Sayyid Ali Gilani, Mirwais Umar Farooq, and Muhammad Yasin Malik. The United Nations Under Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs Mark Lowcock has warned against complacency over the success of the United Nations brokered Yemen talks. He told the Security Council that working toward peace in Yemen must be accelerated as there is a long way to go. Mark Lowcock appealed for funding of the United Nations response plan, saying the humanitarian situation in the country is getting worse. Meanwhile, China has applauded the outcome of the intra-Yemeni talks held in Sweden. Speaking at a Security Council meeting on Yemen, China's permanent representative to the United Nations, Mao Zhaoshu, called for implementation of the agreement by the international community. In Ethiopia, at least 21 people have been killed, while 61 others were injured in heavy fighting between the ethnic groups in Moyale town bordering Kenya. The deputy spokesman of the Somalian regional state said outbreaks of violence between Oromo and other groups have escalated since Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed came to office in March. And now news about sports. In the first semi-final of the Men's Hockey World Cup tournament in the Indian city of Bhubaneswar today, Belgium qualified for the final, beating England by 6-0, while the second semi-final match between Australia and the Netherlands is underway. And finally, the weather. Very cold and dry weather is expected in the northern areas, while cold and dry weather has been forecast for other parts of the country during the next 12 hours. Shallow, foggy conditions are likely to prevail in few central and southern parts of the Punjab. To end the news, here once again are some of the headlines. The Federal Cabinet is holding a special meeting in Islamabad with the Prime Minister in the chair. Pakistan, China, and Afghanistan have signed a memorandum of understanding to boost mutual cooperation for the elimination of terrorism. The Afghan chief executive has hailed Pakistan's role in the reconciliation process in Afghanistan. In occupied Kashmir, the Indian troops in their fresh acts of state terrorism martyred 10 more Kashmiri youths in Pulwama district today. Those were some of the headlines, and that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch the live video streaming of our bulletins on the link, facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.